Hey everybody, it's Pastor Vince from Love City Church. I'm here with Pastor Jordan. It's Marriage March, so we are posting content all month long to encourage people who are experiencing the beautiful privilege of being in covenant marriage. We want to just talk through today some things that we know we could do better in terms of cultivating a gospel-centered, Jesus-filled biblical culture in our marriage. And what we're talking about today springs out of an idea in Proverbs 15, verse 22, where it says that without counsel, plans can go sideways. This is my translation. Plans can go sideways, but in a multitude of counselors, those plans can be established. So what we're hoping is that everybody is at least planning on having a gospel-centered, love-filled marriage that's going to lead to joy and flourishing for the people in the marriage, and also it's going to lead to glory for God, and that's going to be reflected to the watching world. And so that's kind of what we're talking about today. Pastor Jordan, what do you think about that?
So I think a lot of times, or oftentimes, in marriages, husbands will talk with each other, wives will talk with each other, but I think in that, sometimes maybe there's a communication breakdown from maybe I think I'm doing better than maybe my wife Jill would say I'm doing, or vice versa. So I think the idea of inviting someone in to discuss in community and love about how your marriage is going with another married couple. So us getting together, not just you and I talking, but us getting together with our wives.
Yes.
That premise. And even when you're inviting another couple in to discuss these things, they have different experiences, and out of those experiences, they're going to have different strengths and weaknesses to kind of help push and spur us and one another on to love and good works.
Absolutely. I think part of the value of this can only be seen if we each have a humble acknowledgement that my marriage can grow. Right? None of us are perfectly expressing or displaying this idea, this high bar set that our marriages should model how good Jesus has been to us as his church, right? And so there's perfection there. We aren't there in our marriage. And so we need help. And so just understanding that, I think, would help people see the value of coming into a conversation in a context like this. And let's just be honest, it's not only possible, but it's very probable that things are going to come to the table, that conversations are going to steer a certain way differently if our wives were here to talk about how our marriages are doing than if we just had a conversation about it, or if they just had a conversation about it. Right. So that's good.
And I think even in that, so the whole point of kind of getting together with another married couple who is striving to be like Jesus is not, the point isn't to condemn each other or to stand up and kind of point the finger at, look how terrible you're doing at this, though we should correct because that's what, out of biblical truth, because love calls us to do that.
Absolutely.
But that's the point. It's not to condemn each other. It's to, as faithful followers of Christ, we're pushing each other to be better and to be more like Jesus, and for our marriages to reflect the love that Jesus has for us, the church, to the world around us.
Right. And so this is something we have been convicted of recently. We need to do better. And in talking through that, we came up with some discussion topics because obviously we're talking about us wanting to do better, but we're also encouraging you that this would be a valuable practice. So we've thought of some things that maybe could be conversation starters that would be helpful, because sometimes those are hard to come up with. So the first thing we thought is asking everybody at the table, do you believe that your spouse is walking in biblical love towards you? And we're talking about, in these discussion topics, we're talking about asking good follow-up questions and asking people to explain, push beyond yes, no, kind of shallow surface answers. So the first one being, do you believe your spouse is walking in biblical love towards you?
Yeah, and I think then you talk about what does biblical love look like, and obviously love is defined by Christ and his sacrifice, and so some follow-up questions to that would be, how are you doing at serving one another, at preferring one another?
It's a great question.
Which is not always easy.
Yes, I need to do better.
Yeah, same.
Another one we thought of was, is there biblical unity in your home? Would you say your home is unified and that everybody is focused and pushing towards the same goal of following Jesus.
Yeah, in John 17, Jesus is praying, and he's praying that we would all have unity like him and the Father do, which is a high bar.
It's a real high
right?
bar.
So there's
I need help again.
Right, again.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So there's no excuse for us to ever stop striving to be
Right.
more unified,
Yeah.
especially inside of our home and our marriage.
Right.
And then as it flows out from there. I think a part of that as well, talking about unity, is there can't be unforgiveness, right? Because unforgiveness
Absolutely.
is a poisonous root to unity,
Yes.
really.
Yeah.
So you have to talk about, are there any roots of unforgiveness that you are struggling with? Are you both quick to forgive?
Right.
Because letting things just sit there, like I said, it's a root. It's just
Yeah.
going to keep burrowing down
Right.
further and further. So you got to
Right.
be quick to forgive. So kind of talking through those types of things.
Yeah, so it'd be great to not only each time you sit down with somebody say, hey, right now, is there anything standing in between you guys? Is there any bitterness? Is there any unforgiveness right now?
Right.
But also talk in a continual way about how you cultivate an ongoing culture of being quick to forgive. And of course,
Yeah.
all that is always motivated by how much Jesus has forgiven us
Right,
of.
for sure.
Because if we remember how much Jesus has forgiven us of, it makes it very difficult then
Yeah.
to not forgive others.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. So those are some great discussion topics, and there's 100 other things that you could talk about. And actually, if you've got good ideas for other conversation starters, feel free to post those in the comments. And just remember, our big push here this week is that you would get together, talk to your spouse about the value and importance of maybe weaving this into the practice of how you cultivate a flourishing, gospel-centered marriage in your home, but also start to pray about what are some folks you know that are godly, that love you and that love Jesus, that you can maybe start to have some of this encouraging and accountability based conversations with.